What it do? It's your boy Herb to the man. Welcome back to the show, The Transition. Today I'm talking about villain instead of a doormat. When I was growing up, there were two types of people. It was either a person that would use you or a person that would allow themselves to be used. People pleasers. I was taught to be a people pleaser because my parents were those type of people that would stretch out and help whoever, give anybody their last if they needed it. For me, growing up, when I realized that, in order to keep some of the people that I wanted in my life, I'd have to bend over 100% backwards, and then you realize it still wasn't enough to keep people around. This wasn't my fault. This was their situation. It wasn't my situation. This is the things that they have went through, and a lot of times when you're a people pleaser, you think that you're the one that needs to be fixed when the relationships are one-sided and just steers towards that person. As I got older, I started realizing no, it wouldn't be a level or therefore a position that I could do to where I would bend over backwards enough for certain people. So I had to start eliminating people out of my life. And for some friends and family, I had to start loving them from a distance because I realized that, I know you guys have those same friends and families too that are so busy with their kids and so busy with their life and their job that they can't, hit you with one text or one call. But when you get to a family function, they throw you under the bus and say how you don't keep up with them at all. So as I started growing, I had to be comfortable with self. As I started having kids, I realized that, no matter, because, I know a lot of people think that when I talk about this situation that I'm talking about it as a one night stand. No, I'm talking about this as a person that was in a relationship. We talked about not having kids and then we end up having kids. We talked about not having kids because of how the relationship wasn't on solid ground and it wasn't a great foundation from the beginning. So to me, like I said, I seen this talk show, or I mean, not talk show, this a reality show where this young lady is now having guys come in and they're all competing to be her kid's father. I think this is the worst idea possible because we're already having young ladies having children without an understanding of what you're supposed to have before you have a child. You're supposed to have a foundation and a good relationship before you decide to have children. So for me, as I grew and went through relationships, I realized how much of a people pleaser I was, but then how much of a doormat I really was. And if you have listened to any of these other ones, I talk about getting up off the floor. That is not anyone else's fault that you decide to lay down on the floor and let people wipe their feet on you. It's your fault. There are so many other people in this world that want to be your friends, and so many other people in your family that want to be a part of you and want you to be a part of them. Is that the people that you want in your life sometimes won't be those people that will be in your life. you know I've had a better relationship with some of the people that I grew up with now than I did then because of age back then, but also the fact that which side are you on? Are you the user? Or are you the person that gets used? You know what I'm saying? So understanding that situation, you have to realize what's going on. But even growing up in that type of toxic situation, I used to be a person that would use as well. So I had to go back and apologize to a lot of people. But it's funny because I hear so many people trying to be pro whatever, pro black, pro white, pro whatever you call it. And it's funny is that when you follow them through their family or down their block or whatever, they seem to be using themselves, as black people and as white people, as whatever. Everybody seems to use everybody, but we try to make it look like it's the other race that's worse than, or if they weren't around, man, we would be okay, would we? I think it's right now in this world, it's the haves and the have-nots. If you're the have-nots, and there's more have-nots than it haves, You're not getting around the haves because they're paying enough money to keep you from being around them. That's what's going on right now. And I salute the millennials and the Z's for not allowing people to tell them who they're going to hang around and what nationality they should be around. That's some old stuff that if that's what people want to continue to be about and continue to 100% put their stock in, then that's on you. But it's funny that when I was on the southeast side of Chicago, I didn't see pretty much too many other nationalities but black, but I've been used more when I was younger on the southeast side of Chicago than I am now. But I think that also goes with age, is that I'm not a person that likes all of nothing. I'm not pro nothing. You know what I'm saying? So understanding that situation, if you're a good person, and that's definitely now, if you're a good person, then hey, we're gonna get along. But at this point in my life, I am not a doormat for nobody anymore. I've tried to rekindle a lot of relationships with some of my homies, with some of the female friends that I had back in the day. Apologize for some of the mistakes that I made, but I realized that people, they won't give it up. They won't say that they made those same mistakes. And I always say this about relationships, is that relationships, it takes two people to make it, and it takes two people to break it. Now, for some odd reason, everybody's feeling sorry for one party in there, especially if there's kids in it involved in a situation. Everybody's feeling sorry for the mom. Everybody's feeling sorry for the person that was a little more passive, but you weren't in a relationship. For me, I've told my female cousins and my male cousins, when they split, I have nothing to do with that relationship. I'm not about to put my 2 cents in it, because if y'all get back together, I'm going to be the bad guy. I'm telling you, I'd rather be the villain than the doormat any time in my life from this point, because I realize that people will make you the bad guy all day long when you decide to not allow them to use you or to step on you. For me, I'm going to tell you, the best thing, and this was the best advice that my parents gave me a long time ago: get familiar with self. Be okay with walking out that door by yourself and taking these trips and these journeys in life by yourself, because you're not going to be able to have one person to take every journey with you. So start being familiar with doing things by yourself. When I started doing that, I realized, you know what? I need to get up off this floor. This is not any of these people's faults of being frustrated with me, stepping on me. This is all my fault, because I'm allowing this behavior and this taught behavior. And I tell people all the time, you teach people how to treat you. So it's on you, on if people are wiping their feet on you or stepping on you or not even really treating you the way you feel like you should be treated. There's so many people that I used to call and keep up with, and then I stopped for a minute just to see if they would continue to keep up with me the exact same way, and they didn't. So that means that we don't cherish each other the same way. We're not as valuable. It's a two-way street. And I realize that I'm making you valuable and I'm not valuable at all. I'm expendable all day long. So understanding that scenario, I told people that I'm okay right now with being the bad guy. If you want to make yourself out to be the victim, and you're the person that got used, and your feelings are hurt and all of this other good stuff. It's funny how people give their opinion, and then when you give a rebuttal off their opinion, their feelings are hurt. Now you can't be around them at all, and they ghost you, and now they don't want to talk to you. I'm telling you right now, I'd rather be the villain than the doormat, because 2020 came in. I tried to straighten out a lot of relationships, and some got straightened out. A lot of them, they didn't. Guess what? My number won't be in any of these people's call lists anymore, because I realize that I got a life to live, and so do they. And if we got to love each other from a distance, then that's what we do. If I got to be the villain, then I'm going to be the bad guy. I'm going to be the Joker. I'm going to be a really good bad guy for you, because I'm done with being the doormat. So I'm telling you, do the same. Life is too short, and there are so many things and so many other scenarios that you have to accomplish, that worrying about another person's feelings about what took place in a relationship that it took two people to make it and two people to break it is crazy. You know, You got way too much time to advance yourself, and so do they. And the people that really want to be around you, trust me, you do not have to force them. They don't have to force you. It's not a forced situation. And nobody's talking about what happened back in 1919 and how they didn't really bring up their positions, but they also had so many positions that you did in there. I apologize to everybody, and I suggest that you do the same so you can move on. I don't care the relationship, whether it's your parents, your kids, your family, your friends, an associate, or whatever. Apologize for whatever you've done in that scenario so you can move on. Because if these people are real, they'll take your apology, they'll say what they made some mistakes at, and then they'll move on. If they don't, then these are the users. Hey, again, get up off that floor. You're not a doormat. And if you got to be the villain, then be the best one you can. It's your boy Herb Dot, man. Listen, do something for somebody else. Trust me, to give you a chance to figure out where you're supposed to be. Holla at your boy. Come on back.